And so that is why I am personally very conflicted reporting this news.
No, but I mean, this news, so I've known, like, so the rumor is that Nicole came on as a full-time housewife. Now, again, it just begs the, like, I don't understand how Bravo does a thorough investigation. And then we have like racial claims and all these things. And it happens on The Bachelor, happens on every network. But like Nicole apparently was demoted. That's the rumor. That's, you know, right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, no. So apparently what happened is that once this comes out, Heather Dubrow like shuts down essentially and House are fired. Like that's the power of the Dubrows.
That is the power of the Dubrows. That is the power of the Dubrows. I mean, so you think that it is because like that the realtor told Kelly? I mean, we're making a lot of assumptions here because Kelly's involved. Love Kelly, but you know, there's ulterior. So that's what you know, that like Kelly, is that what you're saying?
Kelly just revealed in the book that the Dubrows were pissed at her for talking about the fact that, you know, they had this major inheritance, which plays a lot into their lifestyle. That's really the financial piece. The surgical piece is, you know, going to be brought to light, I guess, next episode, and is the reason why, you know, they got Nicole off the show, because they don't want it talked about that Terry Dubrow is actually like not necessarily the surgeon that he appears to be, potentially, allegedly.
Yes, that is apparently why they got her off the show. But man, like the power of Heather Dubrow, then like that's where, I mean, I've brought this up before too. It's like, do I think personally that Heather Dubrow said like, look, I'm not coming back unless Kelly's gone? 100%. Although she says she didn't say that. I am sure that was brought up. I think that she actually said, I also don't want Bronwyn there. Not the direction that my show is going to go in. This is just my opinion. I mean, the Kelly thing, she said, I'll never film with Kelly again. So I'm just assuming when they went to her and on hands and knees, she's like, I need Kelly gone. And they're like, okay, great. And I just think she threw Bronwyn in there because she doesn't think that's really the high class way to go of the show. And I mean, Vargas, who I love dearly, was, you know, just like, okay, well, why are we going to keep this Vargas? So I do think it's just, I've said this before, like, I wonder just how involved Heather is. Like, is Heather that LVP Bethany where there's rumors of, like, Carol Roswell was just here. She's like, no, I'm telling you, there was a text chain that went around between all the producers, and Bethany was privy to that. Bethany knew things that happened that with me filming, Luann, Ramona, things that didn't have anything to do with her when she wasn't there. She knew everyone's story. I just wonder to what extent Heather, like, right? I mean, that's what it is. Heather, we bring someone in and Heather's like, put the fucking kibosh on this now.
I just think that Heather Dubrow packs like as much of a punch as 10 housewives in one. Like, she brings this level of sophistication and style and wealth and personality and just everything. She's extremely captivating to watch. And so, and you know, she has that LVP, that Bethany quality where, you know, she's dynamite television. And I think she has that power. And I absolutely believe that she, like you said, picked the cast that she wanted to be a part, that she would film with, and said there are certain people I won't film with. Kelly for sure. I'm not 100% on Bronwyn. I think that there were other reasons that production wanted Bronwyn off the show. But I do believe that Heather Dubrow has that kind of weight, or was able to I guess throw her weight around in that way, because ultimately she is just so fantastic to watch, whether you love her, whether you hate her.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, like, to save the OC, because again, I've said this before, I personally don't think last season of RHONY was like, I don't understand why it was off for everybody. Like, people hated it. I hated the only thing I've hated is the last season of the OC. I think it's the worst season in Housewives history of anything that's ever existed. And so who could you have said the return of? Nobody. Like, you couldn't have had that dramatic walking. Oh my God, it's Heather. Heather's the only one that could have like had this presentation, right? Like, so
100%. Absolutely.
So like if someone came to you when you had a lot of, you don't have all the cards. I mean, can't say $5 million because that's what Bethany wants to say, Roni. But, it's like, I think Heather was like, I have a lot of cards. Like, this is how it works, and not for nothing, the production company is the same company that does Bot. So it's like, they've been in good. It's like the Dubrows and Heather never fell out bad with anybody. And the bottom line is she does elevate the show. I mean, it's wherever the money comes from, it's real money. And so if that's what people now want to have in their housewives, which is where this whole thing started, and I think that's what people want, especially after New York last season, I think like they're trying to do that now. Like, I think they're trying to make it like Beverly Hills on all franchises, right?
Well, I think that if you compare this new season, the season premiere of 16 with last season, like the depressing COVID home videos we were forced to watch, I mean, it's just an entirely, completely refreshed, completely different show in the best of ways. And so, yeah. And I think that they did an excellent job. And, there are certain choices that they made that I second guessed at the beginning. Like, I wasn't sure about Gina and I wasn't sure about Emily because I thought that they're both, they didn't necessarily bring that housewife drama in terms of their style, in terms of their wealth that the other housewives bring. But now I understand that casting decision because watching the show, they do represent the viewer, like the rational viewer. They are kind of that Greek chorus almost, kind of singing what's going on and giving commentary on it and being that relatable audience actually built into the show. And so I think it's really well done.
Yeah. How is Shannon this season?
It's interesting. Shannon is just so Shannon in the best of ways. Like, she's walking through Heather's house and she can't help. I mean, it's so funny. So like they have this boozy lunch at Javier's and then Heather's like, just come up and see the house. And so they're doing like this long walk through and it's this full tour. And Shannon is just like clearly tipsy, clearly remembering when she was the matriarch of an estate in Newport Coast, and she's walking down memory lane, and this is kind of dark for her to witness. And so it's interesting to see that, and unfortunate. And I love Shannon. I love that Shannon is so emotionally messy. I love her in the way that I love like an LVP as well. I think she's great television. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think to me, this is Shannon's make or break season. I think that, the thing about Emily and Gina is like, I get it as well because they blend. Like, if you need some continuity for the Heather Dubrow show, they blend. You know what I mean? They're not going to stick out. And they're also, neither of them is afraid to go to the mat. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I get it. I think Shannon is, to me, going into the season, the most vulnerable in terms of if we are going to terminate somebody at the end of this season. I mean, without watching the season, it's Shannon.
Yeah, I even felt that. Like, I haven't seen this season yet, but Shannon's the person who I'm actually the least excited to watch on TV. I've just started to find her pretty grating, and I think I've kind of seen her drama a lot. Totally. And I don't know if it feels like real anymore. I don't know if it. Or it just maybe feels too sad and real. I don't know. I'm like, I would love to see like a happy Shannon season. And I don't know if that's what we'll get.
Yeah. And I agree. I think, and I've said this before, like, I think that like her story, she to me is Sonia Morgan. Her story was, she was a phenomenal housewife, like married to an awful man, finally, couldn't find her voice, treated like crap, trying to diet. And he's like, I'm going to eat potato chips and pizza on KFC. You can go eat your fucking lettuce. And then, finally finds a voice and it's over with this horrible man. And like, then she's single and she gets fat and like, do you know what I mean? I just think like, then she loses the weight. Like, it's such a great story arc. I just think that there's nothing left and it is starting to feel fake to me. And so it's great. Like, we thank you for your service. You were one of the greats, but it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Is it time to move on because ultimately we're looking at someone who's not really going through things anymore. Like she has the stable partnership and her kids are grown and about to leave the house. Like we're basically, there's nothing, like all we're witnessing now is someone like remembering their past and like the tribulations of their past. And so there's no current drama. Is that the problem, do you think?
And like the personality, it's kind of like, there's no mystery. It's like she's a great personality for a housewife. It's just kind of like, it's just, you can't give anything else. Like a straight, like, let's put it this way. We are more interested if there was like, choose one, you are more interested in what is lurking behind Emily and Gina's eyes. Like what is going on in those heads more than Shannon's. I just think we know Shannon too much.
Yes. I think Shannon has just not evolved at all. Like we've seen Emily and Shane go through their marital issues, but that Emily has evolved. And Gina's obviously gone through it with her ex-husband. Like we've seen both of these people have like trouble in their relationships, but they've both evolved and they just feel like dynamic people that I can relate to. And I feel like Shannon is still kind of stuck in Shannon mode, I guess. I don't know. I just haven't seen her like as a person evolve past like some of her behavior.
This is the thing I'm going to say about this. I understand what you're saying, but I think that ultimately Shannon is very messy and chaotic emotionally. And while it was exhausting, I think, to have a Shannon and Bronwyn in one season, I think having at least a Shannon, one person that's like that is good, because on some level, if you have just all these very level-headed women with plenty of restraint and mystery, you might end up with scenes that fall kind of flat because no one's getting messy, essentially.
I agree that Shannon does bring the messiness. I just think viewers are kind of sick of it. Like she has like one speed of messy, and that's like, and it's really sad and dark to watch. It's all, at the daughter's tavern or whatever that scene was where she threw the plate. Like,
the quiet woman. Yeah.
The quiet woman.
I agree with that. Now, I would love to talk about this more, but